Welcome, my friends. I'm very happy you're here. Come on in. The water's fine. You are here for a super shot, and that means we are moving fast, my friends. So I'm going to jump in and get started because some of you are just going to be watching this recording. Welcome. My name is Lauren Bailey. My friends call me LB, and we're talking about scale and the role of the manager. For some of you, this is the first time that you've been with us. I'm just going to make sure everybody's in. Hi, friends. It's good to see all your names. So I'm going to tell you just really quick, Factor 8's been around for about 20 years. Here's a couple brands that we've worked with and, proud to do so. If you scan that QR code, you'll go to our sales shots page. We do these every month. They're tip rich, they're tactical, they're free, and they range between sessions for leaders like this one, sessions for managers, sessions for reps, and sessions for enablement leaders. Cool. All right, moving on to the next one. Seriously, just keep your phone out. I got scans all over the place. I am doing this next week. So if you're on the enablement side, make sure you come to this because we are breaking down the best practice playbook to get sales training results. I will be featured in a masterclass by Selling Power, also free, but you do have to sign up. We're not automatically sending out that recording to everybody. So be part of that audience. It is written for revenue leaders and enablement leaders. And before I jump into our first shot, I am super excited to share with you, it's back. If you've been with us for a year or two, you've heard this before. Factor 8 is a certified sales apprenticeship provider. Yeah, like welders and electricians. There's a new one. It's a sales apprenticeship, and we were part of making that happen. What does that mean for you? It means in addition to getting a Factor 8 certificate, your employees can also get a federally recognized sales apprenticeship certificate, and you can get grant money to pay for it. That's kind of a big deal, folks. Seriously. So between 90 and 100% of the costs are covered. There are hoops you got to jump through, but come learn more. Please, 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 please. All right, here we go. Everything I'm going to tell you today, you're going to get in this playbook. You can scan and get it now in case you have to jump early. I know it's the third time in a row. What scan is what? This is the one for the playbook. Download it. I'll give it to you again at the end in 3, 2, 1. Boom. Shot number 1. We are talking about this, folks, because managers are the choke point or the infusion point. They balance everything. Okay. All the reps, all the customers, all the deals, everything goes through your frontline managers. And when they are not holding this steady, when they're dropping rocks or letting the whole thing fall, it's a really big deal. Okay. I'm also going to tell you, for those of you who aren't in this role, it's the hardest job I ever had. I've been a sales leader. I've been an enablement leader. I've run 2 companies, been a working mom, sales manager. The most number of nights I drowned my tears in wine. Okay. A high performing manager, their team's going to continue to perform even through change, through scale, through product issues, through tough economies. The underperforming managers are quietly hijacking our growth. Okay. And if growth is on your scorecard, we have to get this layer operating like a well-oiled machine first, or I'm telling you, there's a hole in the boat that you're trying to drive to a new shore. And that hole could be attrition. And I've seen that happen. It will kill you. Or it could just be that the ship is sinking because it's chock full of underachievers. But either way, if you're looking to scale, this is the key. And here's the big problem. A lot of burnout. This number was 48% a year ago. It's going up. Okay. Chances are good this layer is not optimized. So don't assume, right? Hey, they're just fine, because they're telling us in our surveys they're not. All right, here we go. Bottleneck number 1, our first shot. How are they killing scale? Consistency. And let's face it, if you are growing or planning to grow, there will be shifts. Reps will start with one manager and move to another within a week, a month, or a quarter. Territories will shift. Account books will shift. Comp plans will shift, right? And during these periods of change, it's critical that your frontline toe the line. But what's really happening, and believe me, I've seen this quite a few times, is 10 to 12 different versions of your vision. Okay? Every single manager is interpreting it differently and giving a different message to their team. I did an on-site analysis before we went in to help do manager training with a scaling SaaS company in the recruiting business here in Phoenix a few years ago. And I sat with a rep and said, so what are you supposed to do during the day? What's your day look like? And I swear to God, the answer was, doesn't matter. I'll have a new manager next week anyway. So if you're seeing a huge variance in performance, attrition, and forecasts, those are your keys that we have a challenge, okay? Here's the big areas in consistency: hiring, performance expectations, what does good look like, rep engagement and touches, and pipeline. Pushing more revenue through a broken system or no system, obviously it's going to stall out. So let's talk a little bit about how to fix some of these. You're going to get all this in the playbook as well. But we're going to start with hiring, okay? Growth, hiring. Managers like to hire their own people, but they can become a full-time job when you're doing all of that hiring, right? So even if you have a profile standard, even if HR and recruiting are looped in with that, managers need the opportunity to contribute to it. They need to agree on what good looks like, and they need to agree on how to uncover those answers in interviews. I highly recommend interview, role play, scoring, calibration, which is a fancy way of saying do a mock interview or a real interview, watch 10 managers score it, see 10 different answers. You got to fix that to really dial in good hiring during scale. Include recruiting in that, okay? Makes a huge difference to retaining talent and getting better talent in the door. All right, we're going to talk about performance next. Remember me telling you about the guy saying it doesn't matter, I'll have a different manager? Yeah, everybody's expecting something different. I don't have to make 30 calls during the day. What? I have to make 70. I'm pissed. I don't want to work for this manager anymore. I want a different manager. Oh, I'm supposed to set up QBRs. Oh, I don't have to. Okay. If they've got different KPIs and different expectations of good, the fact you have one dashboard does not mean everybody at the end of the line is getting the same message. Cool? All right. So I want to talk next about rep engagement. And I see this one is probably the biggest variance. I have reps tell me I've never once had a one-on-one with my manager. I have others tell me there's a weekly touch point. For some people, it's here's how you did last month. Here's the goal this month. Good luck. And they're counting that as a one-on-one. Okay. We need absolutely sure to be clear on what the expectations are that are realistic, folks. Way too many leaders say you'll spend 50% of your time coaching, and I've yet to see a manager hit that. It's not possible with all the fires they put out during the day. But if we don't have some expectation, the actual amount happening is probably close to 1 to 2 hours a week, which means every rep is getting touched every 2 to 3 months, and that's not going to cut it, especially in growth, all those newbies, okay? We recently worked with a pretty tenured group of managers at a Fortune 100 company, okay? These were tenured folks, some 10 years on the job, okay? We went in and did a class on the manager cadence and how to drive performance with goals, and they had massive ahas, massive, 10 years on the job. Okay. Everybody comes with a different focus. And let's be honest, we're usually promoting from within. We need them driving performance in the same direction, not just kind of pointing to a scorecard. Okay. So it's worth getting people together in a room and doing that. Whoops, we went too fast. The last one is pipeline. You guys know this, right? Because you see the forecasts. Hope is not a strategy, but we need to know exactly what the definitions are, not just the strategy. Every stage has a definition. Every stage has a gate. Every stage has a standard. Every forecast has a standard, or it's going to be a mess. And growth is a guessing game. And guess who that lands on? The leader who's missing their forecasts. Okay? Teach folks how to clean up their pipeline and what is the difference between a healthy pipeline and a clean pipeline. Okay? These are the top areas we are missing consistency that will hurt your growth. And yes, there's answers to every single one of those. All right. This stat is not unrelated to what we just talked about. When managers are all figuring out their own paths, most are not going to be successful. That answer starts with better hiring. And I know most of us promote from within. And that means it comes down to better training. 76%, that's almost 80%, do not have training for managers. I understand why. Your enablement department doesn't have the expertise. It doesn't have the bandwidth, and the ROI of training 10 managers or 150 reps, it's different. right? So scan this in case you have to run early because I do have a resource for you. It is a Factor 8 solution that is open enrollment instead of having to bring people in, and it's perfect if you have 1 to 5 managers. Let's go to shot number 2. Here we go. I got this. Dun, dun, dun. I'm the super manager. And that's a problem. The focus is bottled up number 2. When we're focused on deals, not people. And it's natural, folks. Their entire world a month ago, a year ago, whenever they were a rep before getting their promotion, was deals. It was, right? It was the W, it was the win in the comp. So no wonder almost all new managers stay focused here. They're focused on the deals. And trust me, I've trained thousands of them across the world, okay? They're more comfortable here and they're stronger here. They feel like a hero and they'd rather be that than the coach. So watch for managers consistently taking over calls, managers who just want to keep a couple key accounts, or that consistent takeover or second voice. Oh, I'll be on the call with you, right? You see them on a lot of sales calls and talking to customers. You don't see a lot of coaching. And that, let me tell you, is a great big problem for retention. Look at this stat from our survey last year. Training in a growth path is shared by an enablement team if you have one and your frontline managers, okay? Neither should be doing all of it. They're both part of this. The 43% is not a majority, but it was the number one answer on the board. We anonymously asked reps, what would make you leave a company? This was the number one answer. They want the training. They want the development. And listen, when you see the competition out there, fast forwarding AI created junk, you want them to have the training and the development so that their rep value messaging, the customer experience can be a differentiator for you. Okay. 80% of the people we surveyed wanted more than they're getting, and more than half got nothing since new hire. If you're in this boat, you need to invest here quickly. Bring in external folks like us, bring in your own research, your own enablement team. But the research doesn't lie. They need and want more. This is a really big thing for the managers, right? By the way, we did ask about pay, wasn't the answer. We did ask about burnout, wasn't the answer. So it's a good one. Oh, this was a quote. In a market where you're already struggling to hire and retain great sales talent, and I know that's true in all industries, none of us can afford to ignore this. So here we go. Let's move on to sales shot number 2. We talked about inconsistencies, and then we're talking about focus, right? Managing deals and not performance. So here's some ways to get around that, right? And I'm just going to be honest, our new generation of talent in the rep pool, they need more love and strokes, right? They need more trophies. They need more of this from their managers, not just from enablement. So first and foremost, we've got to teach managers what the job is and what it isn't. Okay. Hey, guess what? You don't get to keep deals. You don't get to take over calls. Your job is now developing people, running through roadblocks, managing performance, coaching. Most reps that turn into managers are never taught that. It's not their fault. Okay. I'm also going to highly suggest an interaction framework. We teach one called the coaching model. You're very welcome to steal it, but people love it. It's like the number one class in our Girls Club Manager Promotion Program. And they love it because it's a framework you can use for any meeting interaction, from coaching to performance one-on-ones to meetings with your boss. It's an acronym, and it builds in all the best practices of an interaction, including A, for asking questions. Instead of tell, we've got to teach them to speak coach. And oh my God, is it hard to do. All right. Number 3, teaching them how to measure performance and using KPIs. I can spot a young manager in a second because they talk about dials and they talk about quota, but they do not understand the land in between. So just because it's on the dashboard, don't assume they know what it is and how to use it or what it means. Okay. We've got to teach them these numbers. It's the first time they've had to interpret that for a team, and it's missing out there. It's a huge, huge gap. And of course, leading by example. And what do I mean by that? When us as the sales and revenue leader don't have a meeting cadence where we regularly check in on our managers and talk about more than deals and performance, we're role modeling the same thing. As revenue leaders, our teams decide what's important to us by where they see us spend our time and what they hear us talk about most. So it's interesting sometimes, the dichotomy. We can talk about how we're in it for the customer, but we always talk about the commission. There's a mismatch. So how often are you talking about, and what percentage of your meetings are spent on deals? Can you alter that and start to role model focusing on developing your managers so that they'll do the same and develop their reps? All right, we're going to talk about bottleneck number 3. When we're halfway through, we are speeding through this, and I love it. Make sure if you've got questions, you start to put them in chat for me. All right, shot number 3, coaching. I understand it's a skill and a focus area like number 2, but oh my God, it's so broken, it gets its own shot. It is, I have to tell you, 100% true. The number 1 worst skill for managers. Thank you, SEC, for ranking these for us. But I see it firsthand every single day. We're horrible at it. And the ROI of doing it well is fantastic. You see it on the screen, right? Win rates improving up to 25, 30%. Attrition shrinking when they get good coaching. It does say solid coaching programs, and I'm here to tell you, not every program is solid, my friends. A lot of the coaching out there is making it worse. Once again, number 1 worst skill. By the way, managers understand this. They know. When we ask managers in our survey, right, tell us about your job. What are your priorities? They got it. Develop the team, coach, drive execution. Nailed it. And then we say, and do you do that? And the answer was absolutely not. Why? Meetings, admin, and fire drills. I don't think anybody's surprised by this, but the buck stops with us as the leader. How can we reduce the number of meetings they have to be in? How can we use AI tools to automate some of our admin? Can we have fewer fire drills, or can we have 1 fire sergeant per day who's in charge of putting those out, right? Encourage managers to push back on you when you call a fire drill meeting and they have a call coaching scheduled, because believe me, coaching's never on fire, right? Nobody's ever woken up at 2 a.m. and said, oh, damn it, we didn't coach Susie. It's not a fire drill, but it needs to be, or it doesn't get done. It always falls off the bottom of the list. Now, here's the second problem with coaching. Even if we get it done, the quality of that interaction, it's tough. I'm going to tell you that teaching managers to be great and consistent coaches is one of the hardest behaviors we shift at Factor 8. In fact, 5 years ago, my coaching program was an hour-long class with a heads up to the leader. It is now a 3 times 90-minute part series with homework in between and one-on-one follow-up. It takes that much to make it good. Tells you kind of where they start. Unfortunately, that impacts your reps, because this is what we need. The best call a rep makes all day long on your sales team is right after a win, right? Remember doing that yourself. I just sold one. Oh my God, my next 3 calls are fantastic. Call coaching sessions should feel like a win. They need to walk out feeling like a superhero. If they don't, you're having the opposite effect. And that's how most coaching starts when we hear it. Okay? All right. Sales shot number 4. This one's for us leaders. We should get our own shot. And this one's the last one. We are skipping teaching our managers these basic skills. Okay? As leaders, we have 3 levers. We all heard this: people, process, and systems, right? Technology. I think that you'll agree with me if I translate these. Is this fair? Right? People are about quality. Process is about consistency. And tech is usually about efficiency, right? Or ramping things faster at scale. And that's great. So if you were to take a magic wand, you have this moment, right? And say, all right, which one of these is going to make the biggest impact on my customer experience in the buying cycle? Which one of these is going to help me close more revenue? Which would you choose? I mean, listen, we would all like to have all 3, right? But when we're talking about the customer, I think we all know that the answer is quality. Of course it is. It's the experience that's happening that our managers are coaching to our reps, not showing up and pitching, not just discounting price, not dumping speeds and feeds all over people. These are the things that make the rep and customer experience better and close deals. Unfortunately, when we compare the spend across these three areas, training is not where it's happening. Okay. We spend 5x on tools than we do on skills. Usually, we're not spending on playbook, we're developing that internally. So, take a look at your line item per person. If you don't have a line item per manager and rep, add it in this year's budget cycle because skills and experience and that development will be the differentiator in the coming years of AI, right? Thank you very much. I know that sounds like a commercial, but I am giving you a resource for this. So you saw some of the brands that bring us on site to do training. You get the ROI for your managers when you have 6 or 7 or more. Okay. Otherwise, it's tough to invest in a great big program, right? Divide out the cost by 3 people. Yikes. So we're opening a cohort. It happens twice a year. The one for existing managers starts in July. That is in a month. It's 5 months long. We are taking them through driving performance with goals, hiring like a rock star, and coaching 1 and 2. Everything we've just talked about, we designed it to address the biggest challenges with existing managers, especially if you're going to scale. Now, I'm going to tell you there is a difference between an open enrollment and an on-site session. On-site's customized. We're working with your issues. The output is your playbook forevermore. That's the bonus of it. It's awesome, okay? Doesn't make sense if you've got under 5 managers unless you've got budget to burn, and I'd happily take that. When you do an open cohort, there's 10 different companies there. So you're not going to get the custom output. And here's what that means for you, leaders. Meet with the managers once a month to customize the output and create best practices in your company. Because skills alone aren't going to change the culture, the bottlenecks, and the inconsistencies. We have to take what we learned and apply it to our company. We can absolutely help with that if you don't have the bandwidth, but that's the best practice. The good news is, in a cohort, they're going to learn some of those best practices. We have Fortune 100 companies enrolled in this, and your managers can go learn what they are doing right and what they're taking away as well. Awesome. By the way, this is going to be led by the lovely and fabulous former CRO, Nicole Fromm. So super exciting. You've also heard of our Girls Club program. That is for hypo reps becoming managers, and that happens in January. All right, so here we go. Here's the summary of what we've got. How do we fix the manager bottleneck? 1, a management system. Some call it a cadence or an operating rhythm. We need to teach best practices and then apply what good looks like in your culture, right? In your environment. I don't think we've ever implemented 2 that look the same. 2, the hiring rubric. Go and test it, then go and fix it. Talent is different today than it was 10 years ago. When I was hiring reps, we all had the same absolute checklist. Oh, college degree, 2 years experience, played a competitive sport. Good luck finding that these days. So we need to pull things out of our job description and the requirements so that we get the right applicants, right? We've got to optimize it for all the online stuff, and we have to move faster because reps are getting snapped up. So improve that experience because it's a bit of a war for talent, folks. We have to define what good is and make sure all of your managers who are in the front row hiring for this scale score it the exact same way. Our class that you're going to have in that cohort, hiring like a rock star, creates the rubric, creates the scoring, calibrates the scoring. All right, the next one on this was about pipeline clarity, making sure reps and managers all have those same definitions in your pipe before you start to jam 10x through it. Okay, you're going to have a hot mess if you do it, and you're going to miss your forecast because there ain't no way it's accurate. Coaching, the cadence and the skills, the quantity and the quality. They both suck right now. And if they don't in your organization, I deeply apologize. You are the unicorn, and please direct message me afterwards so we can spotlight you about best practices because it's a hot mess in most companies I see. The other thing we've got is the performance management training, teaching the land between the metrics, the early indicator KPIs, the lagging KPIs, and the results. And once folks get that, your contests are going to get better. Your feedback is going to get better. Your sales strategy meetings are going to get better. But we're missing a lot of that baseline knowledge. Oh, when I see talk time up or down, what does that mean? If my deals are getting stuck here in the pipeline, what does it mean and how do I fix it? Right? That's what we're talking about. We need them to be solution providers there, not just deal closers. And then finally, that regular manager development. If you're planning to scale before end of year, you're late already developing your managers. If it's in your next year plan or 2 quarters from now, start now. Get them on the same page. And like I said, train them and document in the management playbook so that it's customized for you and operationalized for consistency, because you're going to be bringing on new managers as well. All of that's here in the playbook. Go ahead and grab it with the QR code. I'm going to switch my slide in 3, 2, 1. Just a reminder, if you're thinking about bringing in training at the rep level, unfortunately, the grant doesn't cover managers. Sorry about that. I wish it did. But I've got over $500,000 of training to give away. No kidding. Last year, we gave away $600,000 to our clients to pay for their rep training. They got the same factor rate program, end to end, a full year of rep virtual sales skills development. And of course, we incorporated managers into that budget. They were the only ones that didn't get funded. All right. And finally, sales certification one more time. If you'd like to get a couple managers in there, we kick off, I want to say it's July 19th, but it's mid to late July. And fantastic companies in there already. I think we've got about 20 folks. So there's 8 more seats. And if I can help, or my team, anything here, book a meeting to chat. Happy to talk about what's happening with your managers, do some Q&A, talk to you about anything. It's pretty much my favorite sport. And we have brought it in with 3 minutes to go to the bathroom before your next meeting. I'm going to stop the share for everybody and just answer any questions that you put in chat. In the meantime, thank you for joining us. I know we moved super fast, and I'm so grateful that you came to learn more about what's going on with managers and how we can optimize them to scale. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm not sharing anymore. God bless. I hope I was sharing the whole time. Now I'm worried I wasn't. I'm pulling my chat over here. If anybody has questions, I'm going to hang out with you. Hi, Favor. Absolutely. Really, really good. Nicole, you're here. July 15th is the number. Thank you very much. Anybody else have questions or comments? I'm here to help.